Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Untitled Sickos Project, where, simply put, we took measurements and we put them on social media somewhere. What measurements? Who knows? Where would you find them? Who knows? I am Bears fan, alongside my four beautiful co-hosts.
Oh, you're so sweet. This is Juggerbear, and I'm declaring a jihad against the Dodgers today.
You
A
were the
G
smallest.
Jihadgers.
I am the MaskedAura, and a wise man once said, if you can't beat 'em, fuck it. You might as well join 'em. That certainly seems what the rest of the whole entire direction of what the MLB is kind of going towards anyway, so fuck it. That's
You
And
what
were
you
we
know,
do,
third
and
Mariners.
place.
even wiser man once said, if you can't beat 'em off.
Spritz! Spritz!
Yeah, that's what Shohei's wife did. Now we got Shohei
Oh,
Jr.
no.
True.
You're gonna need a bigger bottle, Luke.
Look,
Speaking of
Bro,
big
that
saying,
kid's
bottles,
gonna be a
I'm
speaking
just
of
super
bigger,
soldier, man.
look. I'm just saying. There's a different kind of money ball being played there.
Yeah, I just heard right now from Jeff Passan that Shohei's baby just got signed to a 30-year, $1 billion deal. Any thoughts,
By
guys?
the
But
is it
they
by the
deferred
Dodgers?
like a
Yeah.
billion of it to when he gets paid when the child's like 50 or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
yeah.
Anyway,
Crazy contract, boys. Crazy
uh,
contract.
anyway, my name is Carsausage, and when Taegan took our measurements, he made us stand in a row, and he said, "Yo, Weezer" reference the whole time.
I would never say that to my friends in a very vulnerable position. I said we are basically Metallica if Metallica was consisted of just white guys and a Canadian.
Right. Yeah, that's certainly happened. It was certainly something to experience. But anyways, hello, I am Nickman, and all I have to say from my experience with what happened today is, listen, it may not have been the greatest experience for everyone, but thankfully, nobody had to sit in the Blue Jays chair because every hotel has the Toronto Blue Jays chair.
Here's the thing. I actually hate the Blue Jays, so you know what? I'm fine that the Blue Jays are once again
That is
right where
that
they
is not
fucking belong, in the fucking cuck chair. Shut up.
That is not what I thought you were gonna say. I really thought you were about to be like, you know what? I hate being cucked. And
No,
was like,
no, Spencer,
Hey, no.
do you not know that I actually, like, I'm a Mariners fan, and I hate the fucking Blue Jays because this is
Yeah.
Mariners territory, not shit Jays territory.
No, I thought you were about to talk about getting how you like getting cucked, bro.
What the fuck?
No. Spencer, you don't get it right now. Luke isn't about cucking. He has the Mariners cock ring. He's used to CBT, not cucking. There's a
I mean,
difference.
obviously,
I'm a
CBT,
eunuch.
his
There's
wife.
nothing there anymore because
Yeah,
all the
because his wife beat it off.
Stop, Jesus fucking Christ, stop. Good God.
Hey, talk about a start to the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Anywho, before
This will
we
definitely be
start,
one of the podcasts of all time.
simply put, before we start, we have a couple of announcements to make. This Thursday, Among Us stream with everyone. That's
Fuck
right,
yeah!
everyone.
I'm
Yes.
guessing the start time should be somewhere around 5:15 p.m. PST to 5:45.
Something like that.
It is my first day. My first day at MaskedAura, working in at the prison. So I'm so excited
Yes,
for that.
due to recent events, the MaskedAura has been sentenced to jail for an unknown period of time.
How is that a sentencing? No, the word is he's about to make fucking bank. He's free.
Yes, he did terrible things in that bank. That's why he has to go there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just working.
Not to mention, what he did to those people, serving them that kind of food is deplorable, guys.
It's what
Absolutely
these poor
deplorable.
fucking dipshits deserve.
And remember, buddy,
That's fucked up to say about the bank teller, Luke.
And,
They did nothing
Inmates,
wrong.
you dumb fuck.
No, Luke,
remember, man,
you were off your meds.
Remember, man, stay strong behind bars and Allahu Akbar, brother.
Something. Make sure you have liquid soap.
Thanks for the advice, guys. Thanks.
Anyway, I have
sure
very
to
terrible news to
apply
announce.
it to whatever it is that they will have. I don't.
What is the terrible news,
You could
Jacob?
just say,
Unlike
"Hey,
you,
Luke,
who's
you've
going
been
to real
working in
jail,
fast
I am
food,
downloading
miserable
virtual jail
hell
right
for,
now
like...
on Overwatch 2.
What?
We're
Why are
downloading
you?
virtual jail, Overwatch 2. So,
Why?
You know
for you
what?
guys.
This is the. I'll use the coping mechanism. I'm actually having fun playing Zenyatta, and Bronze 5 is a funny fucking place.
You see, guys, he's bronze 5 because he sucks ass.
And this is what we call in the business Stockholm syndrome.
I hate every single
you don't
one of
you don't get it, guys. He's doing it ironically. He's ironically in bronze 5.
One more enemy in the lane, bro.
If you do something ironically so many times, you're just doing it at that point.
Man, I'm
Yeah,
on a winning streak, and I'm riding off a winning streak. Very, very hot streak. I gave it gain a whopping 3% for every fucking win in this shit tier. I'm gonna crawl out of it.
Crawling. Here's the thing, Luke. You're here where you can't even crawl. You are in the crib right now. You are being rocked to sleep.
You are baby. You are baby.
I hate every single one of you.
Well, yeah, that's
Anywho.
the point.
Anywho, can we the NFL playoffs were over this week, and holy shit, was that one of the worst playoff weeks that I've seen in a hot minute.
Speaking of hating things, I personally hate the Minnesota Vikings for getting my hopes up like that and then just completely fucking dashing them like the Nordic assholes they are. Like, come on, guys. Shame on me, I guess, for thinking this year would be any different, huh?
I mean, let's be reasonable here for a moment. You went into this season with no expectations. And you finished off the best possible scenario that you could have finished off. I get also losing in the playoffs is very disappointing. But also, there's a difference. Look, think about when the Vikings won the NFC North in 2022. That was different. Because that team had expectations because of how stacked it was. This was with Sam Darnold. A guy that people thought was going to be is going to be one of the worst quarterbacks in the NFL. Now he looked decent enough, and you guys got to the playoffs. Like, it's the same thing that I'm probably going to mention to another team earlier. You made the dance, and that was the only goals for this season.
I will say this though regarding the Vikings that it is really funny though. I do find it funny, and this is not to really insult anything with the Vikings or Spencer or anything, all that. But it's just I do find it really funny that I feel like the Vikings that we saw the last 2 weeks of the season was the Vikings team that I feel like if you had shown, like, if you had somehow, you had a time traveling machine and you managed to show those games to people before the NFL season with no context whatsoever, no mention of the weeks, when it was, what the records are, if you just showed people those games, people would probably be like, yeah, that seems about right for what the Vikings will be this season.
Yeah.
Obviously that was there was a lot of crazy shit that happened before we got to that point with the Minnesota Vikings. Though the other funny thing I want to note is that yeah, so the Vikings they had really they had three kryptonites this season: the Lions, the Rams, and playing them in back-to-back weeks.
Yeah, it was just like a perfect storm of like, oh, we're. It was. I can literally walk you through this. It's like win, 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 lose to the Lions, lose to the Rams, win, 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 lose to the Lions, lose to the Rams, season over.
Yeah.
Again, like I said, it's hard to take that loss on the mouth, but like legitimately, were the Vikings gonna make it to the Super Bowl? With how good the Eagles are doing up till this point, even though I think that they're very close to being exposed, we'll see how that Rams game looks. By the way, and it's just I don't know, man. I I just this is probably this is just like the best outcome Minnesota probably could have gotten. Because
Right.
think about it this way. Think about it this way. You still should be focused on JJ McCarthy, and Sam Darnold is just the hot new Jezebel coming in to distract your
Mhm.
eyes from the true for
Yeah, send that
JJ
cheating
And
bitch
McCarthy.
out of the state.
he'll send us like a nice sexy compensatory pick next year.
I think
And
the thing I want to add about the Vikings is, I mean, as it's kind of a little bit heartbreaking, but I mean, we had the easiest blame in the world. That fucking curse wheel, man. That thing has been on a monstrous tear this year, and no one has said anything about its terrifying power. It is powerful. People need to fear the curse wheel.
yeah, that's good sports, but that's also bad voodoo.
That wheel is ever since he's debuted that wheel, it's had this power.
But honestly, I think the reason I took the loss as hard as I did was because it just was like an emotional like uh cavalcade of every single Vikings playoff losses in my head. You know, we're at number 32 at this point.
Yeah, I think the thing for the Vikings, what really, like what's probably like heartbreaking for it is obviously the Vikings had a great season, but on the other hand, it's just when you have a great season, when you look as strong as you did, and everything that's gone to this point for Minnesota, where it feels like you are playing with so much house money here, and for that to just happen, after getting punched in the mouth against Detroit, to just get punched in the mouth by LA, where it felt like the Vikings just really just couldn't get out of first gear for the whole game. And once the blows really came from the Rams, whether that was self-inflicted wounds by the Vikings or not, it just felt like the Vikings they could not stop the impending avalanche that was just gonna doom their season.
It was just a Vikings moment, if you don't mind me saying something like that.
Yeah.
We'll say this though, in general for like the Vikings, it is hard to beat a team when they're coming off coming off any sort of tragedy. it's just weird to say that, especially in the NFL, but stuff like that just brings stuff out into players, and it sucks too. Which with all the whole Rams situation, it's one of those things where it feels like a storybook moment, and you know that it's going to happen, and it was just kind of the case with that one.
Yeah, sort of like the Bills absolutely punching the Patriots in the jaw after the Damar Hamlin incident.
Yeah.
That being said, uh, respect to all the firefighters out there fighting the good fight in LA, and to those incarcerated who are fighting the fire. We hope that you get your rights, and that they give you some leniency in exchange for your good deed.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Good luck with that.
A guy can dream, can't he?
He could, but it
I
depends
will
on the crime.
like if he's in jail for weed, it's whatever.
If it's
Like
drug possession, no, dude, you shouldn't even be in there, man. That's such a small, that's such a
Yeah.
small.
Yeah, if drug possession was an actual charge that was meant to get you in prison, dude, like Ursay would never see the light of day.
Mm-hmm. Like
Uh,
that is
uh,
as true as ever. But
and
I always say it depends upon what was committed, because I mean I have in the time of me kind of getting advice from former friends of family that has worked in places of incarceration where it's sure some of the, I just hope that if they're putting up like a fantastic effort, then it's like hell yeah, you should get paid for. But the thing that I learned is you're getting a lot of people that are very bitter, very 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 bitter people.
right, but respectfully, you're talking about Canadian prison, where
But if you think of it, it goes everywhere. No one's happy to go to prison, man.
right, of course not. I'm just saying, like uh, down here in the States, there's significantly more institutional racism
Mm-hmm.
behind bars.
There is a point with that, but the thing, especially about Canadian ones, is like these guys are given every single resource to where once you're incarcerated, you can get yourself like you can get yourself into a trades with certification, and be able to get a good paying job after your time is served.
Yep. Yeah. Again, American prison is completely different, where they basically incarcerate people and then tell them to do like shitty skilled labor for what are essentially slave wages as a way to
It is slave labor. That has
yeah, and
slavery. It still blows my mind that it does exist in the USA. It never They never got rid of it.
yeah, the
They
13th Amendment was just like, well, I guess you can do slavery if it's a punishment for a crime,
Mhm.
and then that's why there's so much recidivism in our prison system.
Yeah, it's very different. Very like it's the cultures are very different up north, and I'm gonna get like a first taste because I'm actually gonna be in charge of these guys, right? Like like the benefits that I'm hearing, like they get paid $5 to basically sit and chill in their prisons.
Yeah,
They get paid. It's more beneficial for them to stay in their cells than to help me in the kitchen. So that's like the kind of stuff that I'm gonna have, like that's just very different. Whereas in the USA, you don't get those kinds of benefits. There is such like a corrupt system to where criminals are paid to be there.
yeah, and meanwhile in America, they will literally like still keep collecting on your debts while you're in jail, and the only way you can even think of paying it off is through that slave labor.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you're super lucky, they'll like round you up on a truck and force you to work in an Olive Garden as a be under the counter kitchen line.
It is very, very different in terms
America,
of
man.
it's so different in terms of countries and stuff, which is kind of why I don't want, to be the 51st state, because I could lose this like great paying job that
And
I don't want to lose.
And that's also why sometimes I joke about, you adopting me as your pet American.
I mean, I know people who deal with immigration, but I don't have the heart to tell, because they are like super, like they help a lot of people who are from India get their PRs, and they are very predatorial people.
Mm.
Like they would have you working at like fucking Dairy Queen for like 3 years before you would even get PRs. That's why I wouldn't. I know people, but I'm never gonna point you in the direction of them, because these guys are just. It is borderline criminal, even what they're doing for immigration, even just in Canada. It's insanely predatorial.
Right. I've actually looked this up, and apparently, what I do for a living qualifies for express entry into the country.
Thank God. Good. Welcome to Winnipeg.
Hell yeah!
Try
Let's
not to get stabbed.
Oh, I'm gonna take that knife right up my butt, dude. Right up my butt.
Oh boy. You good luck.
And also, funny thing that you mentioned that Winnipeg is so unsafe. It literally has a lower murder rate than a significant chunk of American cities.
And you know what the messed up thing? It's not even the highest city per crime per capita.
Yeah, it's Chilliwack.
Yeah, it's this shithole city that I fucking live in. I hate it.
A city so bad I keep mispronouncing it.
Mispronounce it all you want. I hate it here.
Sort of like how Luke keeps saying Seminole sometimes.
Yeah, if you want me to pronounce your name right, win more fucking games, dipshits.
Worst revenge tour ever.
I hate it. I wanted them to be like, to go on a tear. It's like, especially when fucking SMU, of all the fucking schools, can apparently, and fucking Miami with no fucking defense, can apparently, have a chance at the freaking ACC title. You think that there'd be a better effort, but no.
I think what really slayed me was the fact that, FSU was still like, we want to leave the ACC, bro. It's so weak. Take us in, Big 12.
Even then, like, the ACC's the new gag conference in all of college football. Welcome to meme territory, ACC. Your seat's very warm and everybody's gonna make fun of you. Yo, the ACC After Dark's got a nice ring to it, though. Oh, dude. The ACC. Dude. You got the woke Bob and Cal, man.
And you also have Mario Cristobal doing stupid bullshit that should not be done by a professional head coach.
And yet you'll still win 10 games, so it's totally justifiable.
Mm-hmm.
Hey guys, do you think I should kneel the ball? Nah, run it, bro.
This is such an idiot. We were talking about the Vikings.
I love this is what it leads to. This is what the Vikings leads to. Talking about Mario Cristobal and Miami football.
Exactly.
But anyways, I'm pretty sure I feel like we're doing a rundown of Wildcard Weekend. There were other games this weekend that happened. Most of them had about as much similar entertainment value as Vikings Rams had, But there was an exception. But before we get to that certain exception, before we get to that, let's talk about how the Dirty Bubble kidnapped a head coach.
No, not the dirty bubble! No!
I actually ended up calling that the hard bubble.
Oh man,
I'm sorry. I love that it happened, and then immediately everything goes wrong for the Chargers, and I love how just like not just that fact, but also I love the absolute fact that it was so hilariously stupid what happened there and what happened after that freaking Moist Critical made a video on it, and that is absolutely hilarious.
Also, can I just say that this might be a hot take, this might not be, but the Nickelodeon commentators are unironically better at their jobs than the big boy people. Like the Nickelodeon people, like, yeah, they have to explain their concepts a bit dumber, but like they feel so much less condescending than like a Chris Collinsworth or a Tony Romo. Ooh.
I think the thing that I think that I really like about the Nickelodeon, whenever they broadcast on Nickelodeon, I feel like they just have a lot more to work with, because if it's just the big guys, you're in like several meetings with just, the same crew over and over again, and sometimes it's a little bit hard to kind of just really spice things up. In behold comes a Nickelodeon where you have an entire several IPs just to use. You have a lot of them. You got so much to use from the Nickelodeon IP. You have freaking Dora the Explorer, SpongeBob SquarePants, the fucking Fairly Odd Parents. They have what, the Avatar, the Last Airbender. They have
the frickin' Rugrats.
Exactly. They have so much resources that you can pull from. I think what it allows it to do by having the voice actors of SpongeBob and Patrick literally sitting right next to you, they're able to add like a level of commentary that I didn't think was really possible. But it's how they've used it so well, right? Like, I think ESPN is, like, they're kind of scratching the surface with it. It's kind of, not really. But, like, the way that I think it's how Nickelodeon does it just impresses me so much every single time they do a broadcast of the game. And every single game that they do is just as memorable as the previous one, and that's what stood out to me so much.
I think what really helps the case for Nickelodeon is, they've never been like one to talk down to the kids, like even like their shows in the 90s, they were willing to talk to the kids at their level, they were willing to deal with some like stuff that wasn't necessarily like, kid tested, mother approved, they were willing to get more into the weeds of that. Like, look at some of the stuff they discussed on like Hey Arnold or something. And I feel like that's what really separates a Disney broadcast from a Nickelodeon one. And personally, it also helps that, they're willing to talk about, the game instead of what Patrick Mahomes had for breakfast.
Yeah, modern NFL commentary, I've just learned to ignore it and just watch it with other people. It's just much more of an enjoyable experience. Mm-hmm. It's
like, if I have to hear Tony Romo call Josh Allen Mr. Miracle again, I'm gonna kill someone.
But if you think of it like in essentially this way, like in the regular NFL season, I think we get like a difference between like six commentators. Right, and even then, like at times, like I really wish I would rather had listened to Steve Vrabel announce Seahawks games because, I love listening when he says, "Holy catfish! What a play by DK Metcalf, Jackson Smith-Njigba, Dalvin Witherspoon, Tariq Woolen." Like, I like what he does, right? But like, I think like there's some like tier 2 commentators that are way better than the tier 1s. Like Fox's is just Tom Brady isn't a commentator, man. He's not.
Listen, he's quote unquote a commentator. But let's be real, that man has other ventures in mind right now. And yeah, I feel like the fact of the matter is Brady is just Brady. This is clearly a 1-year thing. Like Tom Brady is not staying here for any longer.
You know what it reminds? You know what it reminds me of? Jason Witten in the booth. That little disaster.
God, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. By the way, I was gonna say this.
Give Kevin Harmon in fucking primetime position.
Yeah, I was gonna say this though regarding what Spencer said about Miracle Man. It's like, yeah, that's cool. Anyways, Miracle Man is gone. Gun to your face.
Yeah.
But yeah. Yeah, there are definitely some experiences with the NFL commentary this season that has not been enjoyable in the slightest. Speaking of things that were not enjoyable in the slightest from this game, Justin Herbert. Yikes.
Yeah, say what you will about Sam Darnold and his falling apart. Nobody expected him to be there. Justin, what the fuck was that, Mr. What If Man?
He's no longer What If Man, because that's a title given to the true What Ifs.
By the way, I want to put it on the record now that I called the Chargers chargering.
He did.
That wasn't even
I
a
was the one that
chargering.
believed in the curse wheel and picked the Rams, so there are counterparts.
You did call that, Jugger. You did call that, and all it took was Justin Herbert having the worst game of his career. Because I gotta say with Justin, like, listen, I still, like, obviously I like Justin Herbert. He's a very, very good quarterback, obviously, but I feel like this is the game where I think, okay, can people please stop with every excuse in the book for this man? Like, can we officially stop with that? Because he's a very good quarterback, but god damn, this is the kind of game where a quarterback has, and it's like, okay, yeah, this is okay, Justin, I like you, but this is the kind of game where it feels like, okay, can we stop with the excuses? Like, enough of it.
Yeah, all these excuses, you keep coming up with these excuses. You're just going to be Josh Rosen with a slightly better arm.
Ooh.
Holy shit!
No, that's a little too
Josh
hot.
Rosen.
That's a little
I've been
too
on a
hot.
murdering streak tonight.
Jesus Christ!
Now let's calm down here. I do want to say this real quick. I still think Justin Herbert is super talented, and I think he can still get some things together. Granted, he needs to start doing things right now. I think he's starting to get to the point where he should be able to take criticism. Like, as much as we want to sit here and, like, laugh or something, simply put, Anthony Lynn wasn't a real head coach. Brandon Staley wasn't a real head coach. And now that he has one, now we can start kind of getting at him for some of this stuff. Regardless, I will say this: he had a good season.
He did.
Almost 4,000 passing yards, 23 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions. Like, he had a good season this year. The main thing that was the issue with him is that he was just a great quarterback among the best of the best this year.
Yeah, I mean, as you said, he had a good season. It is just really funny though that in one playoff game he had more interceptions than he had in the regular season. Like, that is a very funny stat that I'm sure Chargers fans are gonna have to hear a lot, and I'm sure Justin Herbert's gonna have to hear a lot. But my thing with the whole the whole Justin Herbert dialogue is it's less about Herbert, because yeah, he played an awful game. It was the worst game of his career. It's less about that and more just the simple fact that goddamn, I'm I am so glad to see everyone that makes excuses for him finally have a reason to just shut up. Because I'm tired of it. Like, I was just so tired of everyone finding every excuse in the book to make for Justin Herbert. Because don't get me wrong, yeah, he had to deal with a lot of shitty coaching. No question about it. But it's like, there were times where Justin Herbert would have something very much worth criticism, and all you would see is people just defending him. It's like, come on now.
Yeah, I think
And
for me, the way when I look at Justin Herbert, I think my grade for him has altered a lot. I think he's a B quarterback. I think he's.
Oh, I'm not going that
Slow
far.
down.
You could, I could be easily convinced that, hey, give it one more year, and I'll go,
I
okay,
think
sure, I can
B
give it
quarterback
another
is
year,
too
but
far, but he has lost his status in the top range, or at least with the
he's not
top
an
guys.
A. He's not in the A
Yeah,
tier.
he's lost the A status basically. I think that is a fair take to have right now with the Chargers. And the fact of the matter is, why I'm saying this about the Chargers, the Texans defense played without question their best game of the season. Like that was just a godlike performance from them, from a
yeah,
defense that has really been needing just a game like that when, the offense still isn't going to be doing much. Sometimes you just need your defense to just go takeover mode.
yeah. Daniil Hunter, it feels like he finally lived up to his contract that game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'll say this real quick about Justin Herbert. You want to know who he is right now? The perfect quarterback comparison for him right now is Matthew Stafford. Not,
No, I don't
I'm not
believe
wrong.
he's Philip Rivers. I think he's Philip Rivers. He's exactly what Philip Rivers is. I think he's he's a gunslinger. Someone that could never could reach that next level of quarterback. I think he's Philip Rivers. They drafted another Philip Rivers.
Yeah,
I don't
but
know.
here's
I don't think it's Phil. I don't know if it's Philip or not. I mean, here's the thing. The only quarterback comparisons that I do firmly agree with is Patrick Mahomes is Tom Brady, Lamar Jackson is Peyton Manning, and Joe Burrow is Drew Brees. Those are what I agree with.
Yeah.
What's
Yeah, that's
Josh
pretty accurate,
Allen?
to be honest.
well,
Who's Josh?
Brett Favre?
for
Favre?
No,
for
no.
Joe Burrow, I actually think there's a better comparison to make out there that I'm surprised nobody said. Carson Palmer.
You're
No.
wrong.
Well, here's the thing. I get
Spencer,
why that gets made because they both play on the Bengals, but I think
And they were
Burrow.
both first overalls, and they were both
True.
wasted
That
by
is
the
true.
genius of the organization.
Yeah, definitely true. But the thing is, I feel like the difference is, it's like Palmer was a good quarterback, especially when he wasn't getting injured all the time. But Joe Burrow is a great quarterback, and I feel like Burrow is kind of like Burrow is the great quarterback where he plays great, but he's not gonna get like the top tier attention. He's not gonna be like the main focus, whether that be because other quarterbacks exist like a Lamar and Allen or a Mahomes, or because the Bengals are shooting themselves in the foot and there's nothing Joe Burrow can do about that. And I feel like that's why the Drew Brees comparison gets made, because Drew Brees will, have like great seasons. He would have great seasons, and usually it wouldn't get talked about as much because someone else would have a better season, like a Rodgers, a Brady, or a Manning. And if that's not the case, then the Saints' defense was completely shitting itself, and Drew Brees' great talents that year went to waste.
Yeah,
real quick,
yeah.
because the comparison stuff came up. I was I was looking at Kurt Warner stats because a part of me was like thinking, you want to know who fits Baker Mayfield right now? Probably Kurt Warner. But then I looked at Kurt Warner's actual thing, and I'm not going to sit here and I am not going to say some dumb shit that'll make me look like an idiot.
Well,
Oh,
for the first time.
right, let me be clear for a moment. This man rode off 4 seasons and is a Hall of Famer. 5 seasons technically, because if you want to count his last year in Arizona, I think that's fair. But this man rode off 3 really great seasons. I mean, 4 really great seasons and 2 decent ones, and somehow got into the Hall of Fame.
He was really good for the
Can
Rams too.
It was his story. It was purely his story.
Yeah, it really was just based on the story that really wrote itself for Kurt Warner, and the fact that
right?
the fact that someone from that can go out there and all of a sudden win the Super Bowl, all that stuff, and have as great of a season as he did. Like, I completely get why Kurt Warner's in the Hall of Fame.
It's sort of like how people always bring that up in the same way that those blowhard commentators I hate so much always talk about. Oh, did you know that Antonio Gates played basketball in college?
Mm-hmm.
Or Ryan Fitzpatrick went to Harvard.
Ryan Fitzpatrick went to Harvard.
Yeah.
And
Anyway,
can
so
I
you're
can
gonna
I
take
say, I just want to say this real quick. I think, then this is just kind of off topic, but if we're going to say Kurt Warner's a Hall of Famer, I think I can firmly take place and say that Eli Manning should be a first ballot guy. Because there's no fucking way that realistically he shouldn't. Like, I get Eli's kind of had like a weird, like, later half of his career, but I just,
No, for once I agree with you. I think Eli should be in the Hall of Fame because
And he has
you
two
you
Super Bowl wins
you
and
you
a
literally
decent counting stats.
you literally cannot tell the story of one of the greatest dynasty killers without Eli Manning.
Yeah, the story's right there, and the fact of the matter is, Eli won 2 Super Bowls, and he won it in 2 of the biggest upsets in the NFL history. So
Including
really,
beating the undefeated Patriots. Imagine the dark timeline where they win that game.
Well,
And
I
then
yeah,
mean,
horrific smugness.
to be fair, if that did happen, that would mean Randy Moss retires with a ring.
That is true.
that's true.
I just want to say this real quick because I feel like it's kind of needed. We've really, as a society, need to start putting a little bit more to quarterback talk in general. We need to start like putting a lot less stock into it because like guys like Kurt Warner and guys like Eli Manning are so comparable and so incomparable at the same time that it's too dumb to wrap your head around. But anywho,
Yeah. Real
I
quick,
just
I just wanted to say, rest in peace to a legend of the Milwaukee Brewers, Bob Uecker. You were one of the main inspirations behind me even like talking about sports. Like, I know I'm just a small fry little guy here talking to some guys on YouTube, but like I like to think in some way I'm continuing the legacy of Bob Uecker, describing a home run, just saying get up, get out of here and gone. Like you'll forever be in the heart of every single Brewers fan that has ever like made a pilgrimage out to Wisconsin or just chosen to listen to the radio. Like, thank you for everything. I'm sorry you
well
weren't
put.
ever able to call the World Series for the Brewers. I'm sorry you never got to see the World Series win.
That's sadly the saddest thing about baseball and just sports in general. you just aren't able to sometimes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't take away from the legacy that you leave behind. So,
Mm-hmm.
but well, to transition to something sad to something somehow even sadder. We have a Bills Broncos. Look,
Uh,
guys, I'm
Belt
just
to
saying,
the
if
ass.
no,
uh,
no, 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 if there was a epitome of a one pump chump, the Broncos describe that immediately. The Broncos got knee deep into that playoff pussy, got one stroke in, and immediately busted. Nothing else for the rest of the
God
game.
damn.
Oh,
God
um,
damn.
yeah, and
definitely an analogy.
pretty much all the aura and respect I had for Bob Euchre there, just completely reverse it, and that describes how I feel about Sean Payton. How's it feel to get completely teabagged in the playoffs by an actual team and not have just be a bunch of scheduled merchants, fucking Billy Buttlips?
You know,
We'll
I
say
gotta
this.
say, first off, gotta be said. Listen, I don't. Listen, I agree. Listen, Taegan, I agree with what you said. However, I also have to say, so that prediction you made, how'd it go?
I want to say, you guys don't really seem to understand that this game was still relatively close at half. The
Yeah.
Broncos, simply put, got out talented, and you know, I'll bring that statement up to another team earlier. But when you look at everyone else on their schedule, I mean, realistically, I should have looked at it like, oh yeah, they got blown out by the Ravens. But you want to know something? I was still under the influence of like, I don't know, man. This Broncos team's kind of funny. They could just do some shit and just be fuck it. That's just kind of how I took it. Here's
Yeah,
the
and that
thing.
that. Oh, sorry.
I just they didn't really work out, but ultimately at the end, I still feel the season is a resounding success for Denver. I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
oh wow, oh wow, you go into Buffalo and you'll lose. What a huge shocker.
And
Like
don't get me
it,
wrong, they had a great season. Absolutely, the Broncos had a great season, their best season since the Super Bowl win, without question. But I feel like with Denver, there are there are some things going forward for the Broncos that I do think that, okay, like I look at it and it's like, okay, this is where they need to address because their defense is very talented. I just don't think they don't have the playoff experience, and the Bills' offense is truly just that good. Whether during that game, it just felt like the Bills' offense was playing at a slow but just methodical pace, and it was just wearing the Broncos down the entire game. Where it felt like it took a while for the Bills to take over, but the pace that the Bills were playing with, where it was just slow and just really squeezing the Broncos' life out of them, it worked out very well in the second half. And Allen had a great game. James Cook played a great game. Like it was more just a matter of when the Broncos would get tired that Buffalo was just able to put the daggers in that second half. But for Denver, like my main focus is more on the offense for the Broncos because I don't think Nick's really played that bad of a game, at least for like a rookie going into his first playoff game in an environment like Buffalo. Like I think Nick did what he could. Just, I mean, that first drive touchdown to Troy Franklin. Hey, that was really exciting. Like it's a damn shame that nothing else really good for him happened afterwards. But the main thing with Denver going forward that I think is going to be really interesting to watch for come draft time is that there are two big needs on offense that really do need addressing for this Broncos team, and the two in question are running back and tight end. And all I'm going to say is, hey, the running back and tight end draft class in this draft class, it's very strong.
I was going to bring that up too. Mostly just because, and this just kind of in general describes how I feel about the playoffs. Look at every single playoff team so far. Chargers, good running back duo. Texans, good running back. Steelers, good running back duo. Ravens, Derrick Henry. Bills, James Cook. Eagles, Saquon Barkley. Packers, Josh Jacobs. Buccaneers, good running back duo. Commanders, Rams, Kyron Williams. Vikings, Aaron Jones. And then you have Isaiah Pacheco and the revolving door of running backs in Kansas City. Then you have the Lions with David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs.
Sonic
They
and
were
Knuckles,
quite,
baby.
they were quite literally the worst of the running backs, and I would even go as far to say that they have a bottom 5 to bottom 10 running back room in the NFL this year. Arguably
Wrong.
worse than
Incorrect.
running back. Spencer, real quick. Brees Hall, Dolphins room, Bills room, Ramondre Stevens. Literally, most of the AFC have a better running back. Everyone besides maybe the Bengals, the Browns,
Yes, and
Jaguars.
respectfully, I had sex with your mom last night.
I mean, I will.
Here's
Okay, I will say, just to continue this conversation. I mean, yeah, their running back room was not great. Funny enough, they're not even the worst running back room in the AFC West. Take a good guess who that is. But
The Broncos. The Broncos. I thought you were saying. I thought for some reason you were saying the Lions running back room was trash.
no, I was saying the Broncos.
You were just like, you know what? Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery, fuck them. They couldn't hold a candle to.
oh, that I don't know how that happened, but that's, you know what? That's really it gave us a funny moment at least, so we'll take those. But regarding the Broncos running back room, I mean, here's the thing. I don't think Javonte Williams is a bad running back, but he is not close to a running back one. Like, you need a running back one on this team, and hey, it's a strong running back class, of course, but the Broncos, I don't know, given where they're at, they would probably have to trade up to try and get, actually, they don't need to draft a running back in round 1. So I think the Broncos actually have a really
Now,
Well,
Okay,
hang on
you
a
know what,
second.
Taegan, what were you going to say, Taegan?
Tankathon right now has them going Colston Loveland in the first round for the Broncos and Caleb Johnson in the second round. Which I think that would be pretty sexy for this team.
That would work. That would work very well, because the Broncos' other biggest need that I mentioned earlier is tight end.
It's not that Adam Trotman's bad. It's just that he's Adam Trotman. He is like the white bread. He's not even rye bread. He is just the white bread. You put peanut butter and butter on that shit, and you eat it.
Well, yeah, that sounds about right. As far as I don't get what the hell Sean Payton sees in Adam Troutman. Like he's just like he like fucking gumboed his pants when he saw that Troutman was available and was like, oh my god, I need a piece of that.
So we're talking about that. It would be really funny, and I don't know what its current contract situation is, but it would be really funny if, considering Sean Payton likes his guys, I would find it really funny if the Broncos found a way to bring in Taysom Hill.
Oh my god!
No. You don't get it. Here's what's gonna happen. In the off season, the Saints ends up trading with the Broncos Alvin Kamara, Taysom Hill, and Jawan Johnson for their first round and their third round.
I
Looks
make
like
that trade. I don't care. Next year should be a tank year. Blow it up.
Yes, tank for Manning.
Well, I don't even know if he even declares for the draft after one
Yeah, he
year of
probably
starting.
Then we just
He
keep
prob-
tanking.
looks
that
like
would be the plan.
yeah, looks like if they cut cut or trade Taysom right now, the Saints save a whopping $277,000.
$277,000.
Yeah, that's money gained in this economy.
Yeah, but that would really be a drop in the bucket considering they're currently $48 million in the hole on their cap space.
Well, if we're going by metrics of what the NFL did last offseason, and the fact that the salary cap went up by $30 million, like that, people like the Cleveland Browns should be kissing the NFL's boot because they went up by $30 million. I would not be wrong. I don't think I would be wrong in saying that I do believe the salary cap could go up from anywhere from $20 to $35 million this upcoming offseason. Because the NFL is it's flourishing right now.
One problem with that, it's currently projected to go up by $20 million.
Okay, so yeah, be on the lower end.
And they're still predicted to be $48 million over the cap. That's how bad it is in New Orleans.
Oh, I know. I believe me. The Saints have been trying to rework contracts till the cows come home when they need to just cut guys who don't have any guarantees left.
Yeah, and the cows aren't coming home because they literally died of old age.
Yeah, the cows have been dead. This isn't a new phenomenon. They're dead. They're lying on the road right now. They are dead.
That mooing you hear, that's their children.
Yeah, and then the Saints are trying to pick get the cows off the road, and meanwhile they're having to drive in that that one horribly looking car from the fucking get that thing off the road meme.
That's been the Saints though. That's been the Saints MO. It's it still fucking runs just fine. We're this close to get it running just perfectly, just the way we want it to. It still works,
we'll
guys.
Go
trust
from
me.
5-12 to 9-8 or 8-9.
This is off topic.
One win. We only went down by one win, Jugger. You're so close.
You're so.
I haven't checked out of this Saints season since those first two games where I was full of false hope.
Listen, Darren Rizzler is the answer.
Listen, the Saints are they're the gambler that never quits when it comes to not rebuilding. It's listen, one more season of this.
Remember, 99% of GMs quit restructuring contracts right before they figure out cap space issues.
But guys, you don't get it. You don't get it, bro. Mickey Loomis, he did great things in 2017. Let's keep going.
I did want to I did want to take a quick break from the NFL playoffs talking, because there is a little bit of news going on for the teams that aren't in the playoffs, more specifically the New England Patriots and that whole saga with Gerard Mayo.
Ooh.
Mr. Mayonnaise himself.
Yeah, seems like
Simply put, Gerard, I will probably talk more about this in the Patriots video, but Gerard Mayo wasn't put in a situation to succeed, but for all people clowning on him for basically doing a bad job, I would like to sit here and tell you that winning a game in the NFL is hard, and winning multiple games in the NFL is harder. And Gerard Mayo won 4 of them.
He beat the Bengals.
I'm not gonna sit here and say oh, but the quality. Nah, I mean, all in all, he for what he was given, he did what he was expected to do. But yes, he was raw as shit.
Forgive me for being political again on here, but this reminds me of the Brian Flores situation in Miami, where he was given no chance, but he succeeded, and he wasn't given the same opportunity as a white man that would have been in a similar position.
You know, I'm gonna say
Uh,
this. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna give my honest thoughts on the situation because the way I see it with the Patriots here is, look, it's really kind of like, I think the reason there's a lot more spectrum on it is obviously the fact that Walt Mayo got fired after one season. He didn't make it till Black Monday. Like he got fired like an hour after like the Patriots Bills game had concluded, and like the NFL, like, the NFL late slate was like, still going on during that happening. So it's like it really just came right out of nowhere that not even on Black Monday the Patriots were making this move. Now, granted, if you want to know what this reminds me of, is when the Texans, like, after Bill O'Brien got fired, they made the hires of David Culley, and he got fired after one season, and then they hired Lovie Smith, and he got fired after one season. This is what this more reminds me of with the Patriots and Gerard Mayo, because the way I've heard it, and the fact that the way I've seen it with Gerard Mayo, the way I've seen it now with the fact that they hired Mike Rabel, like, really easily, it was basically the worst kept secret in the league that Mike Rabel was going to be the Patriots' next head coach. The way I see it is like, okay, this is something where it was like it was an agreement beforehand that Gerard Mayo was going to be the Patriots' next head coach after Bill Belichick retired or left, and that happened, and it seemed pretty clear that, okay, Kraft regretted doing that because I think if he had a do-over, Mike Vrabel probably would have been the Patriots head coach last season, because it seems very clear that New England it really says a lot that when they fired Gerard Mayo, everyone knew Mike Vrabel was going to be their next head coach. And yeah, I think that's just something to note here, is that it really felt like Vrabel was like, how do I put it? Like, New England, Mayo was just a transition head coach. Let's not lie to ourselves. That's the way to put it. He was a transition head coach for this team.
Right.
I think the thing that keeps frustrating me about the Patriots is they're not. It pisses me off that they still refuse to try to reach out somebody that's not been in the Patriots organization. They're still, like, again, the kids are still running the franchise, to quote a better saying, and I don't think it's gonna get better for them. Sure, Vrabel's a good coach, but it feels like the Patriots are still trying to run things as the Patriot way, and it's not working. It's
Isn't
not
it
gonna work
like
anymore.
deliciously ironic that the last people to be victims to the Diet Patriots scheme would be the Patriots themselves?
It is,
Yeah,
though.
very much. That's very fitting. I mean, the thing is, I think Vrabel's a very good coach. I think he's the right man for the Patriots job. I think, yeah, I agree that you should have at least tried looking elsewhere. I mean, the fact that Aaron Glenn was set to interview for the job and then basically said, yeah, okay, they're hiring Vrabel, forget this. That really says a lot. But the thing is, I'm more like, okay, in this scenario, you should have just made Mike Vrabel the head coach after Belichick retired. Like, let's not lie to ourselves. He should have been the guy to take over. If you're just gonna have Gerard Mayo just be there for 1 year and really just, yeah, exist.
That's the thing, though, Nick. It came out in Gerard Mayo's contract that no matter what was happening, he was going to be the successor to Bill Belichick. No matter what, Gerard Mayo was going to be hired, even if Mike Vrabel was available.
Yeah, and that's why I said what I said earlier. It was agreed upon that when Belichick would retire or leave, that's what would happen. And I think it is really funny to think that he may have gotten fired because the Patriots won that game against Buffalo, which is really funny to think about. I don't know if that's actually what happened, because it sounds like it had been planned for a while, because I said this when we were talking about the coaching hot seat rankings a couple weeks back, but Patriots fans, not just Patriots fans, sports media in general fucking hated how Gerard Mayo was doing. Like, that's all I can tell you.
All I can say after that last Bills Patriots game is I believe in Joe Milton.
Say
like, here's the
his
thing.
name
Joe
and
Milton is
he
more of an
appears.
investment than Sam
I
Howell.
believe in Joe Milton.
Like, one thing that hasn't really surprised me at all is I think there could be a starting quarterback with one of the day 3 picks in last year's draft class. Like, they said, and I thoroughly believe that they said this is one of the deepest quarterback draft classes that we've ever seen in a while. Like, the fact that we could be seeing a maybe 6 for 6, but there could be a good chance that one of these guys that is a day 3 pick could be a quality starter too. Could be. I could be wrong, but it shows you just how good this class was, that Middleton was able to ball out at the end of the season. He's someone that I would want to give a look at. Him and Rattler. I was surprised they weren't taken in taken day 2. I thought they were very good.
Why Rattler is doing so well?
Stop!
Well, because his name is Spencer.
I thought you were going to reference something else.
No, it's purely Spencer supremacy. My bad.
Yeah, I mean that's base, but like you could just hear the panic spreading in Luke's voice when you said that. Like you could hear the exact moment his voice just started to panic.
Yeah.
I could feel his I could feel the water bottle being raised as he was saying that.
No, at this point I'm throwing water bottles.
I've
stopped. I'm just throwing giant water bottles now.
No. Forget water bottles. He's throwing buckets of water at you.
I think it's accurate.
They're just labeled spritz.
Spritz. But I mean,
wait. Oh God. I just. Sorry, off topic, but I remembered something today, and I probably should just share it after the podcast.
Congratulations
but you guys,
on remembering stuff.
No. You guys know that one guy that got fucking caught in the drive-thru earlier this week?
What?
Are you guys not Do you guys... Nick, you know what I'm talking about, right? The guy in the drive-thru?
Oh, okay. I mean, I hadn't heard, like, oh God, I feel like I should know, but I don't know. I feel like I should know what you're talking about, but that feels like something you should probably say.
Okay.
Enlighten me, Mr. Guy who showed me the worst brain rot video of all time, aka brain rot dinner.
Okay. I'm going to tread on this. I'm going to tread on this real likely. Essentially, there's a guy who's in a drive-thru, and he was being a pervert. To the extent he didn't have his pants on, and someone caught him in a recording and posted it online. And
I've heard something, but I think I've heard something about it.
Anywho,
but...
the reason why I bring this up is I saw someone I saw someone say in another server, and they used a GIF of that fucking thing. And they had the caption on it, Jordan Love when he has to show up in the prime time. And the thing is, it's not like that really fucking matters or anything, because like Jordan Love, funny meme, whatever. But it's the fact that they used the fucking GIF of it. Of the lady with the fuck. I'm gonna have to show you guys what the fuck I'm talking about, because otherwise I'm gonna feel like I'm insane.
Okay, so while that's happening, I feel like I feel like, you know what? Jordan Love got mentioned. There's a game we haven't talked about. We will get to that later. But Jordan Love got mentioned. So I feel like that's a good transition into Packers versus Eagles. And, a good God, this game was a slog.
Yeah, I'd be a lot more sad about the Vikings game if the Packers didn't just completely shit themselves.
That
Yeah,
they did.
Yeah, they shot themselves in more ways than one. And, Mr. Jordan Love, about that contract you got.
Yeah, Sam Darnold looked as bad as he did, but he was only getting paid like 20% of what Jordan Love was getting.
Yeah. Listen, Jordan Love has two sides he listens to. He listens to the Aaron Rodgers side and the Brett Favre side, and all he could do. Listen, I'm sure his Brett Favre side was promising him many welfare checks to listen to him the entire game.
And the funny
Because,
thing is, they all sound
yeah.
like fucking Joe from
I sent
Family
it.
Guy. Hey, hey, Jordan Love, dude, be careful not to throw an interception. You're down.
Well,
you're down by scores. Hey, Jordan, listen, Jordan Love, don't listen to this guy. He doesn't know what he's talking about. Sometimes when you're down by 2 scores, you gotta take risks, you know.
Well, you know,
it sounds like Jordan Love is basically like listening to an episode of Impractical Jokers.
Yeah, he's got to be careful. Listening too much about the Brett Favre voice, because otherwise the announcers are going to be saying,
"Oh God,
he's pulling his cock out."
Oh God, that makes this joke worse because guys, look in the fucking group chat.
Yeah,
This is what I was talking.
This thing. Oh, that thing. I heard something about it.
how have I not encountered this?
I've heard of this. Oh, like I've seen it in like
that's why
random
Goonicide
memes
was
on Twitter, but like never knew the context. Oh, that's disgusting. Come on.
I'm no longer on Twitter, and it sounds like I'm not missing anything at all.
You're not
glad.
missing much. You are not missing much at all.
But anywho, the reason why
Bro,
another hashtag that I saw about it was goon and not forgotten.
No.
See, I would have said something like if he was at a McDonald's, he's just he's loving it, and by it, let's just say his peanuts.
Simply
put, this is why can we just get the nuke to just end it all now?
Bro ate dinner. Bro ate dinner.
Bro ate dinner. Yo, imagine eating dinner in 2025, man. That shit's wild.
Dinner maxing.
Bro is dinner maxing.
Bro went from Jordan Love to dinner maxing. Like we went from Jordan Love to Goonicide to dinner maxing.
That's how shitty these games are. We're not even.
I mean, in all honesty, right? This is like standard NFL wildcard round. If we're gonna be completely honest, it seems like status quo in terms of what do I realistically expect from the NFL wildcard round. I mean, nothing impressive really ever.
Nothing ever happens.
Yeah, nothing really changes. I mean, there hasn't been like maybe the Texans were a slight underdog versus the Chargers, but like there hasn't been like that oh my god major upset moment.
And you know what the most exciting part of that game was for me?
When it ended?
Being able to hold my freaking nephew.
Oh yeah,
guys,
that's what you'd be right. That is pretty exciting.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I'm so caught up on the whole fucking thing. Look, the whole thing's just kind of crazy about the whole fucking the guy with the thing, and it's just I know that we're supposed to be talking about like the game and shit, but
Look,
I'm seeing
He's caught up.
the
He's caught up in the Guna side. He's fallen
no
into
no
the
no no
Guna
no
side. He's fallen
no
into it.
Bro's
no
on
no
the
no
Guna
one of the names
side.
is catastrophe.
Bro's, oh my god, that's the name I'm gonna be
Oh my
using.
god, there's fucking XX Tentacion.
Alright.
listen. I from what I'm seeing, that's nowhere near as bad as I was expecting when you mentioned fast food and pants down because I have seen a man like urinating tree himself with a chicken sandwich from McDonald's.
I've
Oh
seen someone
no.
actually fuck a McChicken.
Yes, and he had his pee-pee out and everything.
Oh, that's nasty.
I've seen that's like 10 years, that's like 10 years ago, me and like the old squad I was a part of, we saw that the McChicken was trending on Twitter. Do you all remember when the McChicken was trending on this shithole website 10 fucking years
Yeah,
ago?
I remember when you were.
And then we're
I
like,
remember when you
har
were
har
talking
har,
about
we're
being
gonna get a little
traumatized.
curious, and then I'm never eating a McChicken again.
Yeah, you were You told us like a year or so back, like you were traumatized by that.
I've been traumatized. I'm not as traumatized as one of my other friends in that friend group, but that was trauma!
Sort of like trauma. How the Packers defense had a lot of trauma. Trying to stop Saquon Barkley. They kept
No. If
getting.
we want to talk about trauma, we need to talk about the blunt force trauma that Kurt Benkert goes through every day trying to use his brain to function. I'm surprised that man still knows how to breathe with the fact that most of his NFL opinions are absolute dog shit. I get
Bro
we need to
is
be talking about the
trying
Packers,
so hard
but
to
let
be
Look
me
in the
let
group
me
chat.
let me let me change this to something else. Kurt, you are a fucking idiot. Just because just because you are a former NFL player does not mean shit. Congratulations. You want to know who else was a former NFL player? O.J. Simpson. You want to know what he did? He killed people. And you know what you do? You kill my enjoyment of the game. As far as I'm concerned in my eyes, you are a fucking worm beneath my foot. You
Hey,
provide nothing to the
Taegan,
NFL landscape.
Taegan.
Yeah?
That's future Packers quarterback coach Kurt Benkert to you.
Hey, Hey, he needs a job. Clearly, he needs a job right now because he's on Twitter tweeting bad opinions like his life depends on it. I get it, brother. Rent's due. It's hard
He's
this
he's
time.
tweeting like he's that image of Squidward going spare
Look,
change.
January AdSense is fucking terrible. Every YouTuber talks about how it's the worst time to get paid. I get it. But good lord, can you like get off the
Spare
Benjamin
change,
Franklin for
ma'am.
Get off the Benjamin Franklin, get off the blinker, and tweet something coherent other than the fucking jarble that you post out every fucking day. I swear to God, if I have
Yes,
to hear you
we're getting a
tweet,
we're getting a reasonable take and crash out. Yes.
no, it's mostly because of the fact that I get real fucking sick and tired just because he thinks that he's in the NFL, he knows shit. Congratulations, you were in the NFL because you were athletic enough. You want to know something? Athletes aren't known to be the smartest people alive. Oh, but it takes a lot of knowledge to be an NFL quarterback. Clearly, it doesn't, because DeMarcus Russell, that man's fucking dumber than a bag of rocks, because he couldn't even put in a fucking DVD player. You want to know someone else who isn't fucking
He lied
smart?
about it. They sent him blank tapes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my point exactly. He's. You want to know another quarterback dumber than the bag of rocks? Let's fucking go and look at Brett Favre, Mr. I send dick pics to women himself, and I steal fucking funding.
That's
Just
not the
because
only deplorable thing that Brett Favre has done. Have you guys ever heard of his Green Bay fuck dungeon?
I don't really like.
What?
Here's the
I don't
thing:
want to know.
But he does sexually behind the scenes as long as it's consensual. I really don't give a shit because that opens up a ton of can of worms. And personally, I'm not going to judge someone for their own sexual preference because this is a sports show. If you want to know my sexual preference, watch the Danganronpa streams.
Actually, don't watch a Danganronpa
Actually,
stream.
actually, if you
do
want to
watch
know,
it.
if you want to know his sexual orientation, simply go over to Untitled Dan Project, and you will see that his balls are gone.
Yes.
You don't. I have my balls. Sadly, I
Oh.
can't prove that I have my balls because then we will not be able to produce YouTube content.
Post it, you
And I-
coward!
the
Show it,
Lying.
Bob!
I'm calling bluff. He's lying.
I mean, the one thing I wanted to the last thing about Kirk Bankirk, but I was trying so hard to be the Trevor Bauer in football, in the realm of football, right? They're just
Here's
both
the thing-
douchebags.
I'd say
Here's
it's
the
more
thing,
like
though.
he's like a shitty off-brand Pat McAfee.
No, Trevor Bauer. Like if you
No,
watch, if
Trevor
you
Bauer
watch,
beat his wife. That's the difference.
that is those were proven to be false. But
Trevor
what I
Bauer
mean-
might not be a
listen,
great
hold on.
spouse.
You gotta listen to what do I mean by that. Trevor Bauer thinks he's a know-it-all just because he's played the sport for a while, right? He comes off as an egotistical, arrogant douchebag. What has Kirk Bankirk more recently become an arrogant douchebag who thinks he knows a lot about the sports. And further point,
He only has good faith because he rode Tom Grossi's dick. That's
Tom
my
Grossi
final
doesn't
opinion
even
on it.
interact with him anymore.
Yeah,
And,
because
quite
he's
frank-
insufferable.
Quite frankly, any former quarterbacks out there looking at you, looking at you, Blake Bortles. If riding your meat is what takes me to stardom, then quite frankly, this hole is open for you.
Not even the hottest
got-
quarterback in the
Get the bucket.
NFL.
Get the bucket. Get the bucket.
I'm already. I've already tossed the bucket at him.
Anywho, I just want to say this:
Next time I'm
if
filling
Kurt
it with
Benkirk
ice.
somehow look, I'm just saying to Kurt Benkirk, if you're somehow able to listen with your ears, yes, that's what they're called. They're not called your listening hole, believe it or not. You are a talentless fucking hack. You produce nothing of worth to this world. Okay, maybe that's not a little bit. Maybe that's a little bit too mean. You produce carbon
Yeah.
monoxide. My bad.
Carbon
Basically,
dioxide.
to quote, to say something real quick, just because you got NFL money doesn't mean that you're smarter than everyone else. Congratulations, you are a fucking lolcow, and you will continue to be a lolcow until I decide that you're not.
In fact,
If you
by
ever want to
playing-
debate me, I'm more than willing to debate. DM's open, and also this goes out to any other shitty fucking content creator out there. Specifically, Mr. Dogfucker himself too, Peter Bukowski. Also,
Ew.
I get the,
take this bullshit down, or you will hear from my attorneys. I am not fucking around.
even though I don't really fuck with him, even though I don't really know him much, Steve Cohen, I will also debate the shit out of you. Stop being annoying. And this is just a general statement. Stop being annoying when it comes to sports. Leave the dumbasses like me to do it that are likable, and not the dumbasses like them who aren't likable to do it.
Yeah.
What'd you say?
What,
Yeah.
Nick?
What'd you say? Like, who's that last guy?
Steve Cohen.
The Mets owner?
No. He's a San Francisco sports journalist.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
He
The one that,
he reported a player signed with the San Francisco Giants, but that never became true. He's also like the San Francisco 49ers. I think he's banned from talking with 49ers players because they don't want anything to do with the fucking guy.
And
Super
also,
uncomfortable to them in the locker room.
also Aiden keeps saying things about them I'm not sure I can say on here.
Yeah, I was thinking that was someone else, but now that you say that he's a beat reporter for the Niners, it's like okay, that makes sense. He's probably a dumbass. Anyways, yeah. So that felt like a great summary of Packers
Packers,
Eagles because
yeah.
that was a lot more interesting to talk about than the game itself. Anyways, before um. I said I kind of hinted at this earlier, but we did skip a game. We did skip a game,
Oh, we skipped a good
and
one
Yeah.
too.
No, we
we
skipped two. We were
skipped two.
missing one.
We haven't done the good one yet, but there was another game that happened that had a team having a train run all over them. That game that I'm talking about is Steelers versus Ravens because yeah
It was
Derrick
so
Henry murdered the
entertaining.
Steelers.
That game was so entertaining that we literally did a Danganronpa stream. It
I
was
s-
so entertaining that we did a Danganronpa stream.
I straight up just skipped that game. I watched Texans and Chargers. I just got home from work. I had a bad day and I looked at Steelers and Ravens. I was like, "Oh boy, this is a fun game to not watch."
Yeah, basic summary. Lamar Jackson did Lamar Jackson things. Derrick Henry did Derrick Henry things. The Steelers could not stop Lamar Jackson or Derrick Henry things. The Steelers lose, and they are eliminated from the playoffs.
Yeah, I think Ren said it best when he said unlimited diarrhea.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Simply put, I will say this as my only opinion. If you think Mike Tomlin deserves to be fired because he wins football games, please revoke any football knowledge to me right now.
Actually, do we want to have that debate? Because I think now's another good time for a debate. Because you know what? We can talk about this. Because I've seen your takes on Mike Tomlin. I've seen you talking with Urinating Tree about it when you were still talking with him about it, and Tree was doing his usual Yinzer rage and all that. I'm gonna say this. Here's the thing. I understand what you're saying, Taegan, but I'm gonna tell you this as well. Mike Tomlin hasn't won a playoff game since the 2016 NFL season. He hasn't won a playoff game since then. And since then, the Steelers have been stuck in being alright to mediocre. And they haven't won a playoff game. And they've also had multiple seasons where it's been highlighted by locker room drama. Days of Our Steelers speaks for itself, but you also had other seasons where guys like Juju would be causing problems, Chase Claypool, and of course now, George Pickens, who has really become the main target of Urinating Tree's rage. Here's the thing, Taken, I get what you're saying, but I have to say it, it's been the same shit with the Pittsburgh Steelers, going back to the Days of Our Steelers season. And the fact of the matter is, I think it is very valid for Steelers fans to be fucking tired of that shit.
Tomlin's gotta
I'm not
go.
saying you're 100% wrong. Guess what? If you want Mike Tomlin gone, guess how many days he's going to be
Oh no,
not
you're
a coach.
He
absolutely
won't be
right.
gone
He's
for
going to get
long.
hired somewhere else. But what the
Easily,
problem
but my
is,
brother in Christ, it has been 6 years of this shit, going back to the Days of Our Steelers
Literally,
season. He's blaming a fucking X-ray machine for why the Steelers were struggling. Going back to that season.
Yeah.
Again, I understand what you're trying to imply here, but
and even
this is 6 seasons of this. The
even
Steelers have
before
not
then-
won a playoff game. Actually, Spencer, go ahead.
even before the Days of Our Steelers season, there was still like bullshit drama oozing out of this locker room, like ecto cooler juice. In 2017, when Mike Mitchell was talking shit against the Patriots, when they couldn't even get past the fucking Jags, and
Yeah, that is a name. Like, when you say Mike Mitchell, all I can think of is just Urinating Tree screaming his name in rage. Like, Mike Mitchell. Like, that whole soundbite.
And 2016, that season where they last won a playoff game, literally, Antonio Brown got in trouble for accidentally live streaming a speech that Mike Tomlin was giving to the locker room, which, mind you, Obama was still president then.
Literally, that was the last week of the Obama administration. The Steelers won that game. That was the final week of the Obama administration, and that was the last time the Pittsburgh Steelers have won a playoff game. Like, you want to know a sad fact? This is a sad fact that's been on my mind since I was doing some research about the Steelers, because it's like, you know what? This team, there's many dialogues that can be said about this team. And I find it, we made a video on them today, so it's really funny that I'm bringing this up. The Atlanta Falcons haven't made the playoffs since the 2017 NFL season, and they have a more recent playoff win than the Pittsburgh Steelers. That is sad.
Ooh.
You ever considered, though, like, I just want you to sit here and say that, think this. How much of that is on Mike Tomlin, and how much of that is on the overall Steelers organization? Because
It's on both. It's on both. Simple as that. It's on both.
You
It's been
cannot
the
be
same
in-
shit over and over again with the Pittsburgh Steelers. It has been the same goddamn shit with this team, and the fact that drama after drama keeps happening with that team, at some point, that's on Tomlin. At some point, it has to be on him.
Like 2020 is a perfect example of how it's entirely Mike Tomlin's fault that they have not won a playoff game. Like, for God's sake, you were literally playing a team that was having their special teams coordinator be their head coach, and you got your ass kicked by them. What are you doing?
Taegan, hold on.
Can I please?
Taegan, I understand it. I understand. I completely agree with you on the fact that if Tomlin got fired, that man gets hired in a week. Absolutely. But I cannot believe you are defending this man when every goddamn season with the Steelers, there is drama with this team. The same shit that's been happening for 6 fucking years.
I speak now?
Yes.
I'm not saying that Mike Tomlin is without flaws. Has he not won a playoff game in a while? Yes. Has he not been a true locker room leader for a while? Yes. Has he been unable to, be effective after the regular season? Yes. But also, too, you forget to realize this. The Chicago Bears were one of the worst football organizations of all time, and then Lovie Smith came around and changed everything. And then once Lovie Smith got fired, look what happened to this team. They lost everything. If you lose Mike Tomlin, you lose any semblance of cohesiveness, of anything.
Literally had the same
that resembles the
conversation with
Steelers.
Bill
And the reason why
goddamn Cowher.
Can I not be interrupted?
Finish.
No.
You can finish.
No, I'm not going to talk. No. I'm going
you know
to
what?
take
No. We're not doing this. We're not fucking doing this. Okay, I'm gonna be fucking honest here, and I'm just gonna be very, very clear here. I will take it from here because I do agree with you. The Bears have gone downhill since Lovie Smith got fired. Absolutely. That's one part of it, because I agree, I would have loved for Lovie Smith to remain our head coach for years to come, because he was a very likable guy. Absolutely. I really liked Lovie Smith when I was growing up. But the other side of it is the fact that the Bears hired terrible head coaches afterwards. Like, we hired Mark Trestman to be his successor, instead of hiring Bruce Arians, who wanted the job. That's the other part of it, and the thing with the Steelers is, listen, the Steelers could make a bad decision and it could go terribly wrong. That's shit that happens. That's something that happens when teams make a decision like that. It's a very real possibility. But there comes a point in time when, stuff is happening under your watch. There comes a point in time where it's like, it's gotten bad enough where, yes, you're making the playoffs, but you're not winning playoff games, and your locker rooms are just a constant shit show where it's like, if your locker rooms are a shit show every single season, then at some point, something's gotta change, because that's what happened with Andy Reid in Philadelphia. And, both sides moving on, that's something that benefited both of them.
Again, I bring this up though. If the Steelers can't bring in any competent coordinators right now, how do you expect them to bring in the right head coach, especially someone that's going to be able to be the successor to one of your greatest coaches in your team's history?
If I may
Andy Reid and Philly situation.
if I
Andy
may
Reid and Philly.
interject here, the one thing that I've been able to really notice from what Pittsburgh does, and there is this age-old line statistic that was used, right? Look at the amount of coaches that the Cleveland Browns went through versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. Pittsburgh Steelers, this is an organization, they usually don't fire coaches. Like Tria said it, they don't fire coaches, their contracts conveniently expire. And this is a team that will not fire their coaches. They will let their coaches run for as long as they possibly can before, you know what, you didn't really do much here, we won't offer you an extension. I think it's time we transition, we'd make a transition to somebody else, given that we could feel that they would have a better voice in the locker room. The time to let go of Mike Tomlin was like several years ago. But the Pittsburgh Steelers, as an organization, don't do that. They like the word of stability over every aspect. They believe in having coaches for as long as possible until their usefulness is no longer served. That's the problem with the Steelers, is that their philosophy, they're going through a transition where they don't have a franchise quarterback right now. So they're in this state of where they're trying to find the guy for the next decade. And they're going with this at the same time, they're going with their own philosophy of, we have to keep the same coach around because we believe in the power of stability, and this is the Steeler way. Stability over everything. It took heaven and earth for the Steelers to fire Matt Canada. Mm-hmm. Stuff like that doesn't happen. It's the organization, but from the organization perspective, I don't think Mike Tomlin is going anywhere.
Oh, he's not going anywhere.
He's not.
He's not going anywhere. We agree on that. We all agree on that. I think, it is the Steeler way, not fire head coaches, or you move on from them. You let their contracts expire. Matt Canada being an exception because he was Matt Canada. But the thing is, and it's just with the Steelers, because is Tomlin the only issue with the Steelers? Absolutely not. He's not the only issue with the Steelers. Like, the fact of the matter is, you're still going to be you're still going to be having to play Russian roulette with your quarterback room because you still don't have a long-term guy. And your defense, while it is talented, it has issues where it gets exposed. Once it gets exposed, it's not going to stop. The bleeding isn't going to stop with the Steelers' defense. So that's stuff to really note as well with the Pittsburgh Steelers. But my thing with Tomlin, and the thing that can be applied to the fact that, yes, the Steelers could mess it up. They could very well mess it up. That's something that can be said about every coaching hire in NFL history. Yes, you're having to replace a successful head coach. We know they're not going to do it, but in theory, you're having to replace someone that keeps losing the locker room every year, and that is something where it's like, here's my thing. My thing with coaches is this. Obviously, I will always view whether they should remain the head coach based on performance and stuff. Like, based on performance and all that, that's always the borderline thing I will always look at. Like, sure, you can have some questionable decisions here and there. Sure, you can have some, bad play calling at times, so it's like, you know what? Shit happens. Every coach will have some bad play calls here or a decision I don't agree with. Where these exceptions apply are, where something happens and I'm like, okay, that coach probably needs to go, is they make a decision so horribly stupid that it's like, okay, get the fuck out of here. Like Mario Cristobal running the ball instead of taking a knee to win the game. That's an example of that. The other example is when you lose the locker room. And Mike Tomlin definitely falls into the latter category because it's been this way since 2018, arguably 2017 you could argue, where the Steelers just have locker room cancers running about, And and it's not just that there's locker room cancers, it's that they develop in such similar ways where it feels like you're watching the same story you have been watching time and time again. Like George Pickens, what's happening with him, it feels like I'm just watching a repeat of Juju Smith-Schuster. I'm watching a repeat of Chase Claypool. God forbid, I hope I'm not watching a repeat of Antonio Brown, but still, you get the point here.
And the fact that it's just happened so consistently too, right? Like, this isn't something that is just a one-off thing. It happens so frequently with the Steelers too, to where they just allow people with just, poor personality, poor judgment. They don't keep them in their own positive mental health space. This is the thing. Like, the best example that I can think about this is Chase Claypool. For Juggerbear, I don't think you know this. He is from Abbotsford, British Columbia. I got to see him burn my brother on many routes and score touchdowns on him. He was that talented. This is the guy who had to work his ass off. He was a 0-star recruit out of high school. 0 stars. People in Canada don't get to go to D1 schools right away for football. That never happens. It never does. Chase Claypool uploaded highlights of him, posted them on YouTube, sent him to run everywhere, walked on to Notre Dame, got to start for Notre Dame for 2 years, was a second-round pick, not significant draft capital spent on a guy, had 2 phenomenal years, and then became a diva and completely fell off the earth. Like, stuff like that. There's something that's in that organization that is ruining the careers of talented young men. That is something that needs to be said with the Steelers. You can't ignore it.
Yeah, and it's been said, not just by me, it's been said by Tree a lot, it's been said by many people who cover it and all. It feels very similar to, Andy Reid and the Eagles and how poorly that ended. Because, Andy Reid's a great coach, and his time with the Chiefs have only cemented that and then some. But people forget, like, how poorly his tenure with the Eagles ended, to the point where it's like, it felt like both sides were just begging for a divorce. And honestly, I'd argue that, just seeing all these cancers develop under Tomlin's watch, all these playoff losses, building up over time, it's, it's starting to get into Marvin Lewis territory, genuinely.
Yeah, I see that.
Ooh,
Because that's good. That's a great point, actually. I see Marvin Lewis. I see more Marvin Lewis and Mike Tomlin than people are more willing to give. Yeah, that's a great point. Because, like,
I've been thinking about it for a while. I've been thinking about it for a while, where it's like, like, I still agree with the Andy Reid comparison, but it's like, seeing all these playoff losses, stacking up over many years, it's like, I wonder what other head coach had a lot of playoff losses stacking up and also had multiple locker room cancers spreading throughout.
And just did nothing to address it, really.
Yeah, because, like, Pac-Man Jones was an issue.
Like, this is...
That's perfect.
That's probably could be, like, the worst kept secret is I see more Marvin Lewis than I do see in Andy Reid. And, like, because, like, the thing that kind of, like, I still think, like, the missing ingredient to all of this is, like, there needs to be like, I think Pittsburgh Steelers, like, you're one playoff loss away where they have an entirely undisciplined game where penalties completely destroy. They have the advantage over the team. They have everything seems well put together, but just they commit penalties just at the worst time possible, just like what the Cincinnati Bengals did all those years ago. I still remember watching that game, was it like 9 years ago, and being just stunned at the sequence of events that took place. Like, that was...
See, I was paying attention to a different playoff game, and I was also stunned, but for a different reason.
So I think there's Mike Tomlin is probably more closer to Marvin Lewis than he is to Andy Reid. I think that's such an accurate representation. Even then, like, the Killer Bee era was their best shot at the Super Bowl win. Mike Tomlin, with only 3 playoff wins after the Super Bowl 45 loss, hasn't gotten better since. The Bears might need a Tomlin. The Steelers likely don't anymore. And with Tree said, the culture and non-changing nature is the Steeler way of killing the team. Yeah. That is accurate to the fault, because their willingness to not change is what's going to be a downfall and a long rebuild for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Like, they're going to be dragged kicking and screaming into a rebuild unless they can get a franchise quarterback. That is the only thing that's that will save Pittsburgh. They have to draft a franchise quarterback.
You know what the current Steelers remind me of? Or at least what the Steeler way reminds me of? Like, have you ever been to, like, a really, like, old bar where, like, everybody knows each other and, like, everybody's like, oh, of course, you're, like, 10 minutes late to drinking. What the hell took you so long? Those kinds of places. The food is never that good there, because they're not trying to cater to anybody. They're just trying to keep tradition going. I don't know. That might be too obtuse of a metaphor.
Yeah, but I mean, it's fine. Like, it's like my main takeaways with the Steelers are, it's just, at some point, it's not gonna happen, but at some point, a divorce between Tomlin and the Steelers would be best for both sides. And then afterwards, it's more like, well, where the hell did the Steelers go from here? Because there's definitely a lot of roster issues with the Steelers that also deserve to be pointed out. And the question would then become, well, the question right now is, are the Steelers able to get out of their own way, or, like, take the tradition goggles off and look at the situation, below them and see, okay, what do we do to fix this? Because it's not an easy fix right now. Like, yes, obviously, getting a franchise quarterback, it'd be amazing for the Steelers. It'd be a godsend for Pittsburgh, but that's, of course, easier said than done. And the thing with the Steelers is, well, you're probably going to have to wait on that for a good while at this rate, especially with, Tomlin probably staying around. You're still going to be in the range of, like the 9 to 11 wins, because simply put, the Steelers have shown that regardless of how they lose in the playoffs, regardless of whether they finish the season strong or they end the season terribly, they're going to be in that range.
I'm sorry, but, you said 9 and 11. My first thought was, Mr. Coach, a second playoff loss has hit Heinz Field.
The funny thing is, I just realized what I did there. Oh God, I just realized what I
did there. That's so good.
Coach, Bane has unleashed the second bomb on Heinz Field.
No, that's so bad. Thursday is fucking plane has crashed into. Oh, that's so bad.
Why don't I help assist with these cleanup efforts on my desk?
But anyway, that's enough about this useless puke Mike Tomlin for now. I think there's varying different. I think it's more about the Pittsburgh Steelers organization, their own current philosophy than Mike Tomlin, in my opinion.
Oh yeah.
But anyways, we'll see. But I think to summarize it, they need to draft a franchise quarterback because Big Ben probably saved a lot of people's lives when the Steelers drafted him, and he turned it out to be a success. That was a saving grace moment to why they never changed their philosophy, and they're in that in between state where when they do find it, and if they can find it with the still current organizational philosophy, nothing's gonna change. Nothing's gonna change when stuff needs to change.
Because, you mentioned that, and this will be the last point that I will say. It's like, why change something when history shows that what you have done has been working? And, when the Steelers got Big Ben, the tradition kept flowing, and you won 2 Super Bowls with him, and that's why, the Steelers were so hell-bent on tradition, because they kept it going because, hey, it keeps working. Why change what's still working? And that's the way it's probably going to go with the Steelers until the wheels ultimately just fly off the tracks, which I don't know when that will happen, but at some point it feels inevitable.
This keeps my fucking grandma just sitting around watching Wheel of Fortune.
Until then, we'll be blessed with more false hope from the Yinzer man himself. I look forward to his Steelers are gone to the Super Bowl. They just have to buy tickets first.
Yeah, hopefully more of the Yinzermobile.
I actually. One of the sales reps I work with is actually like a full-blown Yinzer. Like he actually talks with the accent and everything. Like, we were posing for Christmas photos at work, and
Oh no! He whipped out the fucking ugly Pittsburgh Steelers Christmas sweater, didn't he?
Even worse, we were supposed to sing "We Wish You a Merry Christmas," and in between takes, he would just start singing Myron Cope songs, we were just like, come on, dude, focus, and he'd just be like, get the Broncos, they're just Yonkos.
That's funny.
Oh, Lord.
All right, anyways.
Fuck my headphones.
Oh,
anyways,
no.
time for the we talked about a lot of time. Oh boy, does Taegan sure hate Jaden Daniels.
Yes.
And the BS comebacks he does. Am I right, Taegan? You sure hate that.
Oh, Lord. So for the actual really entertaining game of Wild Card Weekend, Commanders versus Buccaneers, and I wanted to do a video on the Buccaneers, but things just didn't pan out. But when I was writing the script that never came to be, I realized, I kind of hinted at this during when we were predicting the wild card games last week. I hinted at it, with these two teams about what might happen, and turns out that's exactly what happened, because this game was a perfect summary of both teams' seasons, in my opinion. It was a perfect summary of how the Commanders show why they have been one of the most clutch teams in the NFL all season. Whenever they are in a close game, they just find ways to win. They are the definition of having that clutch gene within them. Now, on the other hand, the Buccaneers all season had struggled in the clutch. they had struggled to win close games. It's arguably the biggest reason why they had to climb out of that hole to win the NFC South. And, all season, the Buccaneers would, Baker would play very well, but for something out of his control, whether it would be someone else on the offense making a really bad play, or the Buccaneers defense being very unclutch, the Bucs would find a way to lose a frustratingly close game. And as I said, it's a perfect summary of both teams that the Commanders won this game on a joint field goal going in.
And I when I saw the field goal kick go in, I honestly I never laughed so hard before. Because all of a sudden I heard thousands of screams from Bears fans scream all at once. And then it died
I
out.
could hear it too. And you know what the screaming said? My Marvies!
Marvy, my Marvy.
Like, I can't help but just be like, I am annoyed by the Commanders, but at the same time, when you win like that, it's like, well, what the fuck am I supposed to do about that? Like, but they find every way. The Washington Commanders have genuinely found every way to win this season. Like, it might not be like to the Chiefs levels of just finding every way to win, but they have still just found every single way to win a football game this season. I can't lie, for as annoying as it is having to hear Commanders fans, it is kind of funny.
It is. It was like the funniest outcome that possibly could have happened, and it completely happened on primetime television, and it happened in just the funniest way possible, and it just shows you, like, again, as good of a season that Baker had, you got to be able to time those handoffs better, man. That's something that you gotta do. You have to do. It's not just me going, you have to make sure you protect the ball at an NFL level, Baker Mayfield. He was just...
I could see you doing the fucking nerd point.
The nerd point Dexter. Yeah, I'm doing the fucking nerd point Dexter because it's true though.
That one fucking emoji, you know what I'm talking about.
Yep, like actually it's this. It's so dumb.
Yeah, look.
Ah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's dumb. It's just shit loves to be crashing on me right now.
Yeah, I mean, at the very least, for as bad as really the football games of Wild Card Weekend were, I will say we at least got that game. Like, it's not the worst Wild Card Weekend I've ever seen, because the worst Wild Card Weekend I've ever seen was I think it was like the 2016 playoffs, where I'm just saying this because a lot of the games, all the games that weekend were not good, but I mainly remember it because there was a playoff game between the Lions and the Seahawks, and the game was so bad that NBC aired shitty memes.
Oh god, the shitty meme game. I remember that. That was back when that was back when my parents had just moved to where they live now, and my mom was just like, oh man, another one of these. And I hope you don't mind me circling back to the Steelers real quick. Taegan mentioned that it could be a very bad idea to move on from Tomlin because they could hire a really shitty coach next. That's how I felt about Jim Caldwell on the Lions. you know, like, Matt Patricia sucked, but getting rid of Jim Caldwell was 100% the right move, because he was not taking that team anywhere.
Yeah, it's like sum it up, it's like it's the right move, but what they did afterwards was poorly executed. That's basically the way that went out.
Yeah, kind of doesn't help when you hire, you know, like Mick Bluppen as your head coach.
Yeah, that will not help. But anyways, considering we have talked about the wildcard weekend, should we transition over to what's going to be happening this weekend?
Absolutely.
Yeah, we're actually having an Untitled Sickos barbecue tomorrow. Make sure you bring your plate. Juggerbear will be smoking brisket.
Yeah, so we got 5 games to talk about in this. We got the CFB finale, we got the Natty on Monday, and we got the divisional round in the NFL playoffs. Let's start off with the most predictable game in my opinion. How are the Chiefs gonna barely slip by this time? Go.
You know, the Texans, they come back down to earth in the same way that the 2019 Vikings came back down to earth against the 49ers.
The battle starts in 5.
Oh yeah, go fill out your picks yourself this time. I'm too lazy.
Yeah, I could see that. I mean, I could see that happening. That feels like the realistic scenario. But if we want to get like ultimate, we want to do like the ultimate scenario where the Chiefs pull out bullshit like they have all season. I don't know. CJ Stroud does something funny and the Chiefs win because of that.
Something stupid's gonna happen this game. I just don't know what stupid thing's gonna happen. But something stupid's gonna happen because it's freaking.
You know what?
Man.
You know, I thought something really stupid actually. Imagine this: CJ Stroud. It's 4th and long, the final possible play of the game. Stroud throws it into traffic. Touchdown, but hold on, flag on the play. Offensive roughing the passer on Laramie Tunsil.
Oh my god, they would find a way to do that too!
First ever offensive roughing the passer.
Bro roughed his own quarterback, man. Oh, I hate the sound of that. I just hate the sound of that, man. Oh. Oh, that's because I see that happening too, or like somehow like half the field collapses, or like the O-line completely forgets how to do their job.
Yeah, Mahomes puts on a Bane mask.
He puts on. Why do I see all these outcomes just happening? All these outcomes are gonna happen.
Yeah, because like the Chiefs would be leading, the Chiefs would be leading, but the Texans are starting to come back, and now they're getting the ball back, and they have a chance to take the lead to win the game, and Mahomes just hits the button to like blow up the field.
Heinz Ward is even crouching PTSD.
Fucking double. They ran out of fucking double magic, so they had to go to fucking just straight. Fine, we'll do it ourselves. And the NFL's like, no, we can't do anything. We'll make the Swifties upset.
Mm-hmm.
So with this logic in mind, I'm picking the Chiefs. If someone could jot picks, that would be wonderful.
You're not lazy. You're just playing Marvel Rivals.
Thank you, Spencer. I know. Blame Pokemon. The fucking game crashed.
Which is even more of a piece of shit move if you ask me, but...
Yeah, hey, you know what? It's fine. Jarvis clipped that, got triple kill. Anyways,
Taegan, what are you picking? Taegan?
Well, we can always ask him here. I'm taking.
Oh crap! I think he's mad at us.
I'm taking the. I'll take the Chiefs in this one. If you want to go around and.
Yeah, I've already put it in. I put.
Jugger, who are you going to take?
It's the Chiefs. Like, come on.
Spencer, who are you going to take?
I already said Chiefs on an offensive roughing the passer.
God, why does that happen? Why could that happen? I hate that it could just happen. Oh. Alright, next game, we got the Lions versus Jaden Daniels just has to wait 2 minutes for the last 2 minutes and then play the game.
Yeah, for as much as, I can see this being a really fun game. I think the first half should be very fun, especially with the Lions, well rested, getting, Monty's going to be in the backfield alongside Gibbs. The Lions have had, 2 weeks to prepare for this game. I think there should be a lot of fun, plays that happen here, but I think come the second half, the Lions will show they're the better team, and I just think the Commanders just aren't going to be able to keep up with Detroit. Because not going to lie, the Commanders' run defense having to try and stop Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery sounds like, that's a tall order for any defense. For the Commanders' run defense, that's an enormous order. So I'm going to Lions.
This is like, unfortunately, this divisional weekend, I said it's pretty much going to go the same thing as the wildcard weekend. Just the fact is that I feel like the NFL has I think a bigger divide on like who's good versus who's not good for quite some time. It's just not being said about it,
Well, I look at these playoff games, and it's less I see who's good and not good, and who's fine versus who the great teams are, like who is the top talent in the league. And that's what I see with this wildcard weekend, where it's like, there's teams that I think are fine, but they're having to play up against, a great team, a team that's well established and has been here before, and it's like, yeah, I think I have a feeling what's gonna happen here.
And you know what? When you guys zig, I'm zagging. I'm taking the Commanders. Because, here's a bit of a hot take.
Anyone willing to help?
I think the Lions look kind of sketchy, in the back end of the season, especially, the Thanksgiving game. They almost let the Bears win that game. Or the Bills game, where it felt like they just completely shat themselves. And, it seems like even with their wins, it feels like they give up a pound of flesh to do so. And they're going to be having a lot of guys who are coming back from a long thing of injury. And I don't know if they can shake off the rust quick enough, especially when the Commanders are such a clutch team.
I see that point. I think this game's probably going to be closer than people think. I think that's something that is quite accurate. I think this game has the potential to be a lot closer than people will give the Commanders credit for. But the thing that I think is going to really come to boil down to it is if the what happens if the commanders don't keep this game close? What's going to happen?
I mean, I feel like that would be very... Because now that you mentioned that, you mentioned how it could be a close game, it might not be a close game. You mentioned that I do get some, like... I get some vibes to, like, maybe, like, Broncos Bills last week, where it's like, you know, where it's like, you know, the Broncos had a great season, but they clearly just can't keep up with Buffalo. I could see that maybe happening here with the Commanders against the Lions, where if the Commanders aren't able to keep it close, or the offense just can't get going, I feel like it would be a very similar game to, you know, what we saw last week.
It could go either way, but like the thing is, what happens when they just don't keep it, when this game just isn't kept close? What then? That's the thing that's gonna boil this game down to. That's gonna be to me the TSN critical factor. Is what if Washington just can't keep this game close?
Are you trying to hit me with that shawarma Riz, brother?
Spencer, I'm trying to give you the main sports networks that you're gonna have to tune into to move to Canada. So at least give me credit for that, trying to help you.
Right, of course. Yeah, but I want to be shawarma Riz, man.
Okay, so quick background. Those commercials were they actually paid the zone that have this advertised. Those are not advertised normally on Canadian TV. Those were, I think, when DAZN was doing experience with advertising, we got shawarma Riz when the game was out of network.
Yeah,
so I don't think we're gonna get shawarma Riz again, but although we do need to find that commercial and post like a shitty edited version of ourselves. I think we have to do something quite funny for that, in my opinion. Yeah, I think there's something funny we can do for
Untitled Shawarma Riz project.
Yeah, like again, when the guy passes over, we could just put like anything that would just make us like the guy passed out because he had fucking shawarma Riz. You know, like I'm sure something like that could work.
Or another piece of Canadian culture I can't wait to experience. Going to Montana's.
I don't go to Montana's. I don't know, cause going to Montana's is probably like just going to eat out somewhere nice, you know. I think that's still like it's kind of the same. But if you really want the authentic, depressing experience, go to Boston Pizza.
Yeah.
You want the the real authentic, disappointing experience and realize, oh frick, I spent $50 in food here and I hated all of it.
So what you're saying is it's the Maple Leafs of restaurants.
No, it's the Vancouver Canucks of restaurants. Because at least the restaurant manages to just make you go, wow, this is pretty good. But like Boston Pizza's where divorced dads takes their kids to eat food. Let's be real.
Oh, yeah, so like Chuck E. Cheese in America.
There's your lore. There's your lore. So.
Yeah, in America they take their kids to Chuck E. Cheese because, wow, they got a ball pit. I can keep them distracted there while I go hit on their new stepmom.
The battle starts in 5, 4.
All right, let's get on to our next game. So I'm gonna flat out just tell you who I'm picking right away. I am picking the Eagles because Brandon Perna cursed the Rams. That's my logic. You guys have the floor.
I just think Taegan's gonna do something heroic and magical, so they're gonna win it because of that.
Yeah, Spencer, I was about to say, you know, if there's any positive about the Vikings losing to the Rams, it's that you don't have to hear Chris Collinsworth calling the Vikings.
Oh my god, I've been saved!
See, look at the positive!
I've been saved
ID
from...
check.
I've been saved from Collinsworth being like, now here's a guy who's a real underrated defender. You know, he really knows how to stop the run, and then Barkley goes in for a touchdown. Fuck you, Chris.
By the way, I'm picking the Eagles. Like, there's reasons to pick the Eagles because I think the Eagles are the most talented team. But it's worth noting that, yeah, there's a chance there might be snow at this game. I'm not sure. There's a chance there could be snow because the whole Arctic front that's coming into America is dropping temperatures a lot. Like I saw what you and Taegan posted earlier, and it's like, yeah, that sounds about right.
We're getting a bit of it, but we're getting sunny skies, and we're not getting any precipitation, so we're not gonna get any
I don't have a sound effect for this. You know, I was about to be like, you know, looks like Mother Nature's hitting us with and then I would have played Biden Blast. Yeah.
See, I knew Joe Biden had one trick up his sleeve. I know when I'm gonna hit that asshole Donald Trump. I'm gonna hit him with my Biden Blast. That's what I'm gonna do. Third time to take you to the retirement home. No, you're not gonna dodge this Biden Blast. Oh, I've told you 1,000 times, President Biden. Biden Blast doesn't work anymore. Or, you know, sometimes they just play it up for just because, you know, they want to feel good, you know?
Right. Although I will say, Biden Blast does sound like something like Donkey would say. Like, watch out for my Biden Blast!
After the way you said that, it sounds like something Gilbert got.
Beware for my Biden Blast! Oh, Angel was gone. Bro was gone too soon.
Wow, Luke, Luke, did you even have to change your voice on that one?
Shut the fuck up. I can do some impressions from cartoons. I can kind of do Krong. But like, there's some impressions I could do from cartoons. Come on.
No. That one was a joke about my fucking dad.
I know, and then that's my response. I just gave my response. That's all. That's my response.
Bills Ravens.
So yeah, this game should be a game that happens, and whatever happens, oh boy, I'll sure be able to hear all about it. The question is, though, is this going to be, you know, Matt Stafford's last ride with the LA Rams? That's the real question. Because like Brett Coleman pointed something about, so he said, so what are your Sam Darnold predictions? And the one that stood out to me, the genius one that I would dread for centuries, Sam Darnold goes to Sean McVay. I would genuinely hate. Like,
yeah.
This isn't like the Niners extending Brock Purdy would be, oh my god, that'd be such a great move for them. Sam Darnold going to the Rams would make me want to scream into the void.
You know why? He would be called Brand Darnold.
Because it's a movie that would actually work out, whereas the Niners are going to be like, oh my god, they're about to pay Brock Purdy so much money. They should totally do that.
I thought you just hated wordplay and were just like, I don't want to hear about Brand Darnold.
No, because like, it's a move that I think would have the best thing to work out. It makes so much sense because Sean McVay, he's a freaking genius. I hate this man coaching in the same division. Because, again, all my coaches, it's GG Coach Deadass. GG fucking Coach Dick. Because McVay is a thorn in my side. because he's actually been like ever since Sean McVay was a part of the Rams, he has been a nuisance and a thorn at my side. Kyle Shanahan at least has the choking moniker where, you know, he's got the old guy that can never get it done, and I can go to sleep knowing that the Niners are never gonna win a championship. Fuck them, I hate them so much. Right? I can know the Cardinals, oh look at them, they're playing so hard. But when it comes to Sean McVay and the fucking Rams, it's damn, everything's gonna work out because this guy's such a genius. Why can't he just join Prime already and just talk about, analyze stuff? Go do what's his face did. Go do what he did. You'd be so good at that job. You'd be perfect. Think of how good you're gonna be at a job like that. Just talking about, you know, formations and shit.
Well, I hate to break it to you, but I think even with McVay gone, you'd still find a way to lose to the Rams.
That's true, that's fair, but at least I could at least stand a chance against them. They wouldn't be like this unstoppable force. They'd be stoppable. With McVay, it's dude, we can never do it.
Oh, you mean like you were against Jeff Fisher?
Hey, at least we could beat Jeff. At least here's the thing: the Rams would always give the Seahawks a struggle. You know that there's absolutely true.
You hear that, Jugger? Luke's starting to speak American. 51st state, here we go.
Stop, no, for real, please don't. That's my genuine nightmare. Because I don't know if I would lose my grid-paying job because I can't find anything right now. Can't find anything. Don't, please. Like suicide would be an option.
Bills Ravens.
Yeah.
This has the potential to be the game of the NFL season. This is game of the year territory.
I don't know.
I think we're gonna get some succulent Josh Allen heroic.
The way I see it, I feel like it's kind of. I just kind of feel like, you know, like maybe I'm just apathetic at this point, but it feels like this is really just a competition to be second place in the AFC.
Yeah.
You know, just become, you know, the winner gets to inevitably, you know, get forced into the Kansas City Chiefs sausage machine.
I mean, to be fair, I will say what's been said before. The Chiefs are beatable, but this, in terms of this competition, it would be more of, okay, whoever wins, whoever wins now gets to play the sweepstakes of how do you lose to the Chiefs in what the fuck fashion? That would be the sweepstakes that gets brought up here. Now, obviously, I have more faith in that because, hey, at some point, a team that's trying to three-peat is gonna fail because that's been the trend for 20 years in sports. But regarding the game itself between the Ravens and the Bills, there's definitely a lot of narratives on the line right here, and I feel like there's a lot of strong matchups here for both teams. Like, you know, Bills have Josh Allen, James Cook, they have a balanced receiving core. You know, Ravens have Lamar, they have Derrick Henry, and they have a nice receiving core. And the fact of the matter is, with, this game, my personal judgment is, I felt like if this game was being played in Baltimore, I would pick the Ravens to win. But because this game is being played in Buffalo, I feel an edge to the Bills. And honestly, I feel like the big reason I would probably pick the Bills over the Ravens is, well, for as great as the Ravens have been playing, for as great as their offense is with Lamar and Henry, for as great as they are, their defense can still be very inconsistent at times. And granted, it's played well down the stretch, but something about them having to stop Josh
The battle
Allen
starts in 5,
in Buffalo,
4,
in the playoff
3,
environment. Something just
2,
tells me
1.
that's
All you
not
need to do is
gonna
Or
end
is,
well for them.
Got it?
or as Drawplay Dave calls him, football moose.
Okay, genuine
Yeah,
question, Yasko. If the Texans, like, you're in a warmer climate area, right? Or are you actually more northern climate? Because he's got a funny proposal here. If the Chiefs do win, he's gonna go outside in only shorts and a t-shirt. Which, again, depending upon what region, I would commend you. I would totally commend for it.
That is that. Depending on what region, that would be very brave. But
That would be,
And the-
that's a good deal.
10
That's a
degrees.
good deal.
10
Live,
degrees.
Yasko. Don't let anybody stop. Good, Yasko, do that. Live. Don't tell any, like, Fahrenheit or Celsius.
Listen, it's probably Fahrenheit. He lives in a land of freedom. Anyway, Yasko, if you do that, please make sure you look at your skin and, don't run. Like, when the air gets that cold, you can literally die from breathing it in.
I remember the stupid shit I did when I was a delivery driver. I participated in my favorite tradition of no pants November. I was only wearing shorts.
You wore shorts.
You are dumb if you thought it was gonna be nothing. I wore shorts in November.
You
When it's like -5 outside at the time, and I had to go outside and wait for the customer to get to the door.
Like you were just full hogging it the entire month. It's just like,
Jesus Christ. I'm gonna have to spurt you more, Spencer. 'Cause, like,
here's your pizza. Where are your clothes? Don't worry about it.
Spritz! Fucking Spritz!
With the amazing Spider-Man!
Your sprint is being
And then I'm just throwing the empty bucket at you!
yeah, it hits them in the head like a fucking Three Stooges sketch.
It makes a thunk sound.
I can't wait for the Stone Cold bedpan proof to be delivered on me.
It's not even a bedtime, it's just a painful bucket being hurled with maximum velocity into your head.
Yeah, while that's happening, while that's gonna get taken care of, yeah, I think a big reason I'm picking the Bills is also, I look at the odds right now, and I see that the Ravens are favored by a point right now, and something just tells me that the Ravens being favored in this game is gonna backfire. Like, something tells me the vibes are not right here. This is gonna get posted if the Ravens lose, and not gonna lie, the vibes that I'm getting looking at it are telling me they're gonna lose.
One down.
Also, your boy may or may not be adding some new emotes to the server.
We're gonna get some funny emotes eventually. But yeah, I mean, I'm taking the Bills. As much as these two guys are having incredible seasons, as much as this is the evil iteration of the Kansas City Chiefs you've ever seen, the thing that I think comes down to this game for me is who's gonna have the game of their life. And something that needs to be said, there is a chance loser, depending upon how the org feels, I think it's like a 90% chance that they don't get fired. But I think there's a good chance that there's a potential possibility to losing coach could get canned. Could. It's not a guaranteed, but could. Because there's a little bit of a hot seat. So I think there's certainly lots at stake for these two quarterbacks, and I think this overall has the making of probably being one of the best games we're going to see on the football this year. Like, buckle up. This is in the perfect time to Sunday night. It's the last game of the divisional round. Get your popcorn, folks. I think this is going to be one of the best games that will be on the football docket this year.
This is your big chance.
Yeah,
Indeed.
lots on the line here. Very much. But
So, I'm
speaking
gonna
of lots
take-
on the line,
I'm going to take the Bills to win.
I'm taking the Ravens because, I don't know, Josh Allen, I don't know. And also, one of the big things I'm going to miss with the TikTok ban is seeing the Bills win shit posts.
oh yeah.
Like, also, fuck you, Congress. Why was that the most important thing you had to care about?
Where can Twitter have been banned instead?
True.
Well, you know,
It would be free.
Elon Musk is a, you know,
Cockroach.
I mean, the
that
ban was
won't
set up like
die.
years ago.
Yeah, it was. It was put in motion years ago. That's true.
Yeah.
It was put in
But,
motion years ago.
I mean, I did mention how games with a lot of stakes to it, a lot on the line. And there is one more game listed that we haven't talked about yet, because it's not an NFL game, it's a college football game.
Yeah, this is gonna be quite the interesting. We got the finale to the college football season, that is. And for those who haven't been really paying attention, we have Notre Dame versus Ohio State. A game that I think will hopefully be more interesting than previous Natty finals. There's a lot of them, they've been over before the game started. Even last year when Washington made the Natty last year, they got fucking mauled by Michigan, man.
Pick your hero.
This time,
I'm not judging.
neither of these teams won the conference championship. Both of them didn't have a first round bye. And here we go.
Be wary.
So I think we're in for hopefully a good game. And if Notre Dame, I'm just scared for who both win, because I find both well, that goes for any, I think, like power schools. I think their fan bases, like for like the real top tier big boys, they're all insufferable. It's just
yeah.
pick your insufferability factor, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's worth noting though that there is more to this game. Not just because it's the national title game, but it's Ohio State versus Notre Dame. And these two teams have a lot of history against one another in recent times. The fact of the matter being, this is the third straight season now that these two teams are facing off against one another. 2022, Ohio State won in a very strong fashion. That was Marcus Freeman's 2022 official debut. And 2023, that was the game where Ohio State won on the quarterback sneak, the quarterback sneak on the final play of the game to beat Notre Dame. And that was a game where I felt like, Ohio State got very, very lucky in that game. Granted, they won the game still. That's all that matters at the end of the day. But that was a game where it felt like, that was a very, very close game that could have gone either way. So there is history between these two programs. And both of them have had amazing runs in the college football playoff. I feel like they match up well. Like, Ohio State's offense has been phenomenal since getting that horrible loss against Michigan. It really woke them up, and that offense has been clicking. Granted, it showed last week that even though Texas lost that game, it did show that, hey, you are able to still contain Ohio State's offense. You are still very much able to do that. Texas' defense showed they can do that. And I think Notre Dame has the defense do that against Ohio State. The thing is, Ohio State's defense has been just playing lights out. It has been playing phenomenal. It's really been playing great all season, and I feel like the big question here what's gonna make or break this game is, you know, we know what Ohio State's offense brings, we know what their defense brings, we know what Notre Dame's defense brings. What will Notre Dame's offense do? Because I think that's what's gonna make or break this game.
I think this could also be like, and again, this is something that Riley Leonard's a senior, right? Or is he a junior?
He's a senior.
So this will be potentially, again, scouts are going to have another game where scouts are going to have a really good look at your kit as a quarterback. And again, potentially, again, he's not a name yet, but could be something for a team that could roll a die on, potentially, depending upon how the outcome goes. But even then, like, Notre Dame's backup looks pretty good too. So this game is going to be something where I think it's going to be a really tough-nosed, grind defensive battle. So if you love defenses, this game is going to be for you. But I think, for me, what it boils down to, I think Ohio State just is better offensive talent. I think the defense is just playing absolutely amazing right now. Everything is clicking for Ohio State where, I mean, sure, Notre Dame's got the defense to do it, but do you have the offense that can get it done?
A quick update, we now have 2 new emotes in the server.
Nice. I will take a look at that.
Oh yeah.
But this game is going to be, I hope, one of the good games. It's the perfect finale to the college football playoff. In my opinion, it's been a great success. I think 16's the perfect number. The perfect number. If you want everybody to shut up, you go 32. Because if you're outside of the top 32, you don't deserve to be in the CFP, let's be real. But I think 16 is the perfect number, 32 shuts everybody up. But yeah, I'm gonna go Ohio State on this one.
I'm gonna go Ohio State as well.
Battle starts in 5, 4, 3, 2,
Or are you gonna go Spencer and Juggerbear?
all you need to do is capture the mission area.
You know what? I'm gonna take Ohio State.
I mean, Ohio State just looks unstoppable right now. Like, they murdered Oregon. They took care of business against Penn State. They played Penn State right now.
They did play them earlier in the season, but in terms of the playoffs, they killed Tennessee, they killed Oregon, and they took care of business against Texas.
That's right. I was mixing up Texas there.
And one thing that I will say, I know, I mean, we're going to hear a lot about from Northern Illinois. If Notre Dame were to win, I'm sorry, it sounds total cringe to claim a championship when you didn't even win the MAC.
Listen, I would agree. I agree with that, but I think as a joke, it is fucking hilarious though. That it would be fucking hilarious though that if Notre Dame wins, and the only team to beat them was Northern Illinois, the only team to beat the national champion.
Is if the Chiefs win the Super Bowl, do the Broncos claim victory over the Super Bowl because they beat the Chiefs?
I'm not saying to claim victory over that. I'm just saying as a joke. It is fucking hilarious. I think it's a funny joke to be made, and the fact of the matter is, it's really funny that would be the reality we are in, where the national champions only lost was to Northern Illinois. It would be beautiful, even.
I just feel differently about stuff. That's just me though. Still, I don't know. I wish Northern Illinois just had a better conclusion to the season. If they won the MAC, I was like, oh hell yeah, take fucking title over that. You guys fucking did it. You beat Notre Dame, but I'm just like, yeah, that's just me though. But yeah, good slate of football we have for us. I do believe next week is gonna have a balance. I think we're gonna talk about more hockey, more football, for next week, and then I think it was all Pro Bowl games. I was trying to remember what they were.